Hello everybody, this is Liz King 1015 2011 with another Minecraft tutorial video. Today's matter is going to be on a subject I don't hear about too often, and that's going to be the subject of ambience in Minecraft. Generally, when I hear people talking about this matter, they usually say, oh, well, Mojang should add ambience XYZ in the game, or, oh, you could add ambience in the game using plugins and mods. What if I told you there's a way to do it in survival mode using elements of the game that's already present to create your own ambience? You don't have to use plugins or mods with this, and it all can be done in survival mode. Now, I'm using creative mode in this video for the sake of convenience and to make this a little faster. However, I assure you these aspects can be done in survival mode. And utilizing them, it'll give your base that little extra pop, if you will, in a sound type of way. So not just will your base look good if you build it well enough, people will actually stop and listen and be like, wait, I actually hear that. And that's the thing you want, because that will draw people to your bases on a multiplayer server. It'll give it the little extra edge of creativity that will really make it stand out. So the first aspect I wanted to talk about is a set of blocks that could be utilized for sound ambience. Now this, of course, usually happens when you walk on them. And I've chosen the 5 here. And we have amethyst blocks, mud bricks, copper grates, blocks of copper, and deep slate. The unique thing about these 5 blocks is they have more of like a relaxing or unique type of sound when you walk on them. Additionally, now I'm not sure about this on Java Edition, but I know here on Bedrock Edition, if you place carpets on the blocks and you walk on them, you're still going to get that sound. So first is amethyst blocks, and you're going to hear a nice little jingle. And see, with the carpet technique that I'm showing here, you could actually hide these blocks. So it's just like a little bit of extra joy than if someone walks over the carpet and they're like, why does this sound so nice? Well, it'll be hidden underneath there, but they'll never know unless, of course, they want to look without your consent or if you show them. But this amethyst block is very nice, very relaxing to walk on. It'll give your base a little bit more ambience with the proper setup. Next is mud bricks. And you get the little clicks and clacks. And again, you could hide this with carpet. And it's just like a little clacking, relaxing sound. Next is copper grates. It's kind of a bit of like a cling bash sound, but it's light in a way that sounds good. And again, you could hide it under carpets. Then we have blocks of copper. Kind of on the medium scale of heaviness, but it still gives a nice sound when you walk on it. And last but not least, deep slate, which gives a bit of a crispy, crunchy sound. Almost like a bit of shale or slate, if you will, but it's still nice and relaxing, because it sounds like it has just a little bit of wetness to it as well. My next example that I'm going to utilize is how you can use not just elements of water, but also cauldrons to add ambience to your base. So right here is an example, and this is the reason why I use creative mode. I want you to be able to see the different aspects here that are in play. So the first aspect here is, if you build your base in a particular way, you could actually, underneath the floor, make it 2 blocks down, add magma blocks, and then utilize water, and it'll create a nice bubbly sound, and the source will be hidden. And this works particularly well with brewing stand and brewing rooms, because it'll actually make it sound like the brewing stand is bubbling, if you will. Next are these cauldrons. You could actually hide cauldrons in the wall, and you can use water or lava cauldrons. The difference there is your water cauldrons are going to make a lighter drip, whereas your lava cauldron is going to be a little more bubbly. And so that's really going to depend on your preference on how you utilize that. But let's actually go inside here, because I have this made so I can actually do this. So here's our brewing room. There's also flowing water above as well. I'll show you that when I get back out as well, because you can also utilize flowing water for sound. But let's say you're right in front of your brewing stand with all these elements going on. This is what you're going to hear. I'll be quiet for a moment. Isn't that relaxing? And that's what I'm saying. You could actually do this yourself in survival mode. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, this king, yeah, it's a waste of iron putting the cauldrons in the wall and doing that, you know, so why should I bother? Well, see, here's the thing. You could also make it functional by hiding them and putting trapdoors here. That way, if you ever need water for your potions, you can get it. If you need to get lava through buckets as fuel for your furnaces, you can get it. Very nice, very easy, very simple to do, and it just creates this relaxing atmosphere that I'm sure you and other people will enjoy. Now, coming back out, as I stated, you could also use flowing water, like I have here, for the additional sound ambience. And again, it'll add to your build. It'll make it very relaxing and very nice. Now, when I stated that lava cauldrons give more of a bubbly type of sound rather than dripping, I'm going to give a good example of that. So over here, let's say you have a room for a lava farm. Now you're going to have these 7 here, but in this example, as you can see, I put additional cauldrons in the wall. So this will give it additional bubbly sounds. So when you actually come up to this, it's going to sound like that lava is really bubbling. And it's going to give that a little bit extra pop of a sound. So you're going to hear that even if these 7 get emptied. And it leaves a stronger impression of what the farm is sound-wise. It's actually really nice. Next, now this primarily can be used more or less for, I'm going to say like spooky, creepy builds, or if you're really like that aquatic sonar sound, is a conduit. And you're like, wait, a conduit? Why would I want to use a conduit? Well, here's the thing. And I'll show you. The conduit makes 2 different sets of sounds. One is the heartbeat, and the other is the sonar type of sound. Now, the higher up you are, you're going to hear less of the heartbeat before you hear less of the sonar. So, you could utilize either or both of these sounds to add either a creepy or an aqua type of ambience to your build should you choose to hide one of these things in your base with it being active. Again, this is actually quite useful for that, something that I don't hear people talking about using a conduit for. So I'm going to actually disable that for this next example here. Let me come back in and pop, because I want people to actually be able to hear the next example. So the next example is actually utilizing mobs for sound. I know this is going to sound a little far-fetched until you do it, but yeah, you can actually utilize different mobs for sounds, for it to add ambience to your base. So this first example, I'm pretty sure you see, is going to be like a swamp or a mangrove swamp. Let's say you're making that as part of your island, your base, or a build, and you really want to bring this out sound-wise. Now, I wouldn't utilize glass. I'd be covering it with the grass in my hand here, but frogs can be actually hidden like this. Make sure you name tag them first so they don't despawn, but now you'll always have a frog sound around wherever you put these guys, and it adds the ambience. It adds to whatever build you're making or already have constructed. You'll always hear the frogs, but you'll never see them. It's kind of like you get like little toads that like hop around, if you will. It kind of gives that impression. It's actually really nice. The next set of mobs that you can actually utilize, I know this is gonna sound a little weird, are rabbits. As with my example here, you may not understand this right away, but let's say, oh, up here, let's say this is the ground level of my base. Here's my pet parrot. You hear that little those are the rabbits. And they can add that little bit of extra, like, weird comfort or detail to something like this, because it makes the parrot sound like it's lightly snickering every here and there. Not to mention, it sounds a little relaxing in itself. But this is kind of how you utilize these guys. I know not many people would have thought of utilizing rabbits for an ambient sound, but it can be made to be relaxing if you utilize them properly. The next mob that you can utilize for sound are surprisingly glow squids. Because if you listen to glow squids, they make this wind chime-esque type of sound. So if you have a way of basically either making a fake wind chime, or you want wind chime sounds around your base, you could actually hide these guys, and they'll make the sound on and off for you, as you can hear. And it's also really great to combine this up with blocks of amethyst, because if you walk on it, now you're going to get both the amethyst sound and the wind chime sound, and it sounds very magical. Some people might actually like to use the combination of this. Actually really, really nice. The next mob you can utilize for sound ambience are skeletons. And they could actually be used in conjunction with the example I just gave over there. Because those light bone sounds that they give off kind of be like, bone wind chimes, or just a relaxing light sound that these guys occasionally give off. Again, you can hide these guys in the ground under your base. Again, don't forget to name tag these mobs, and it can add a little bit of sound ambience. The only downside of using hostile mobs, such as the skeleton like this, is if you have a bed nearby, you're not going to be able to use it. Just something to keep in mind. And while we're on the subject of skeletons, you can utilize wither skeletons in the conduit in a kind of like a creepy haunted house build. If you hide them underground, and the shuffling of the wither skeleton and the heartbeat sound of the conduit will actually give the haunted house more of a creepy vibe, if you will, sound-wise. It'll add that extra ambience in. Now, last but not least, last mob that can give sound ambience in a way that you wouldn't expect is the drowned. So, if you remember the brewing room down there, there was already a bunch of sounds going on. If you wanted to put one of these guys, one of the drowns, underneath the ground where your brewing stand is for extra different sound ambience variants for your brewing stand, you could do that. Because these drowned will actually give kind of bubbly sounds off. But again, keep in mind, if you utilize a hostile mob like this, if you have a bed nearby, you're not going to be able to use it at nighttime. Just something to keep in mind. Alright guys, this is LizKing 1015 2011, talk to you about how to create sound ambience using elements of Minecraft in survival mode in vanilla Minecraft. I hope this is something that you enjoyed, and enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any feedback, don't forget to leave it in the comments, and enjoy.